Some houses are just old, but some houses feel like they've been waiting for someone. This one waited 23 years. And when Jason returned, it remembered him. Jason was 29 years old, a freelance photographer who had traveled the world capturing moments through his lens. His work had taken him to bustling cities and serene landscapes, but nothing had prepared him for the emotions that would surface when he returned to the house he grew up in. He hadn't been back since he was 6. His parents had sold it under difficult circumstances, and he had always wondered what became of it. The house had changed hands a few times, but the most recent owner had died under strange circumstances. Now the house sat vacant, waiting. Jason came back, not to stay but to take pictures. The house, with its creaking floors and dusty furniture, seemed frozen in time. Every corner held a memory, every shadow a whisper of the past. As he walked through the empty rooms, he could almost hear the laughter of his childhood echoing off the walls. But the moment he stepped through the front door, a chill ran down his spine. The air was thick with an unspoken tension, as if the house itself was holding its breath. He paused, his hand on the doorknob, and listened. The silence was deafening, but then, just as he was about to take another step, he swore he heard a whisper, "You're late." The words sent a shiver through him, and he turned quickly, searching for the source. But there was no one there. The house was empty, or so it seemed. Jason took a deep breath, trying to steady his nerves. He had come to take pictures, but now he wondered if he was capturing more than just images. Was the house trying to tell him something? And if so, what secrets did it hold? The house was silent. It had been years since anyone had set foot inside. The air was thick with the weight of memories, and the walls seemed to whisper secrets long forgotten. Dust hung in the air like it hadn't moved in years. Sunlight filtered through the broken windows, casting eerie shadows on the floor. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the occasional creak of the old house settling. Everything was just as they had left it. The swing in the backyard, the photo frames on the mantel, and the old, nostalgic items that told stories of a time long past. It was as if the house itself was frozen in time, waiting for its occupants to return. His old toys in the attic were covered in a thick layer of dust, forgotten and abandoned. Each toy held a memory, a piece of a childhood that seemed so distant now. The attic was a treasure trove of the past, filled with relics of a simpler time. But at the end of the hallway was a door, always locked. It was a door that held mysteries, a door that no one dared to open. The very sight of it sent shivers down the spine, and it seemed to hold the weight of countless secrets. Jason had nightmares about it as a child. The door haunted his dreams, filling his nights with fear and uncertainty. He would wake up in a cold sweat. The image of the locked door burned into his mind. It was a fear that stayed with him, even as he grew older. Now it was slightly open. The sight of it sent a chill down his spine. What lay behind that door? What secrets did it hold? The questions swirled in his mind, and he knew that he had to find out. The time had come to face his fears and uncover the truth. Inside the room was a child's desk. It was old, worn, and covered in a thin layer of dust, as if it hadn't been touched in years. The dim lighting cast eerie shadows, making the room feel even more mysterious and forgotten. On it, a single piece of paper. The paper was yellowed with age, its edges frayed and delicate. It seemed out of place, almost as if it was waiting for someone to discover it. A drawing. 2 children. One was clearly Jason. The lines were simple, yet there was something hauntingly familiar about the figures. Jason's face was unmistakable, captured in a moment of innocent joy. The other, a girl in a red dress. No eyes. Her face was a void, replaced by unsettling black scribbles. The red dress stood out starkly against the paper, a splash of colour in an otherwise monochrome world. Just black scribbles where her face should be. The scribbles were chaotic, almost violent, as if someone had tried to erase her identity. It was a disturbing sight, one that sent chills down Jason's spine. On the wall, scratched faintly into the wood, "You forgot me." Jason froze. The words were barely visible, but their message was clear and haunting. It was as if the room itself was accusing him, reminding him of a past he had tried to forget. He hadn't told anyone about her. The fear in his eyes was palpable. Memories he had buried deep within him began to resurface, and he felt a cold sweat break out. Who had drawn this, and why now? When Jason was a child, he used to talk to someone his parents said wasn't real. Her name was Ellie. She lived in the room at the end of the hall, but after an incident his parents said he imagined everything. But Jason remembered the screams. He remembered locking the door and running. Jason left the room in a panic, but when he turned the hallway, the house had changed. The doors were all gone, the windows bricked up. The only way forward was back into that room, and inside, the same red dress, hanging by itself on the chair. Then, tap, tap, tap behind him, a voice, "Let's finish our game." Jason never came back, but a week later his camera was found in the front yard. One video file was on it. It was him, holding the camera, whispering, "She's real. I locked her in 23 years ago." She waited, and now she's not alone anymore. The house has been sold again. No one stays longer than a night. That room is still there, and so is the drawing. Every time someone enters, the second child,